It is getting us closer to the real world. Though we think we are getting deeper into the virtual world, it is actually eventually making us gel together as a community across border, across language, religion, culture.
Like people say, like, it is very volatile, it is very dangerous to invest in it and everything. But I made a handsome amount of money out of it every time, because it is all about your research and how are you, like, understanding the, like, basically about the tokens or the coins utility, and, like, on which blockchain it is based upon.
And my humble request to all the investors is that don't buy any meme coins or any like private tokens. So just go for utility tokens. Every country should consult the governments over there, how they have articulated the things over there. How does the CBDC work from their end? So I think this is the future.
Thanks a lot for tuning in today for this mega podcast of iTrendGlobal Solutions. This one is having a panel of 3 people who come from range of experience and different backgrounds to put in things into perspective when it comes to this new digital landscape, metaverse, NFTs, blockchain and whatnot. What I can tell you definitely is that this one is having information and insights which I think would make you realize that you're maybe not still ahead of the curve. So this one definitely but would help you to in getting there. Great. So I'm so excited to kick off this first mega podcast for iTrendGlobal, where we are having amazing people in this first panel of us. And I'm sure the discussion is going to be very fruitful and full of value for the listeners who are there in the community. So to start with the introduction of amazing people that we have in the panel today, first of all, we have Mr. Sarang Pokhare. So he's an experienced digital marketeer and an IIM Calcutta Alumni, having over 10 years of experience combined in market research, B2B marketing, SEO, SMO, PPC link building, Google Analytics, and other advanced web ranking applications. He's having a passion for learning and implementing new technologies and for marketing, and equally adept at marketing strategy and execution. So I'm so glad to introduce you, Sarang, to our audience, and we are very glad to have you today.
Thank you, Vanchika.
Yeah. Second of all, we have Mr. Avinash Kaushik. So Avinash is a serial entrepreneur and investor. He's currently building the WAKA World. Fans and creators are rewarded with WAKA tokens along with preserve to earn, conserve to earn, and restore to earn and NFTs. Having worked with World Bank, IFC in Africa, Avinash wants to make real world impact in conservation of animal and habitats through the metaverse gamification. It's quite an introduction, I think. So as a tech geek, Avinash worked for Verizon during the dot-com era, spearheading the post-merger integration of GTE and Bell Atlantic. Avinash also founded Rev Ventures with a portfolio of over 80 startups into smart wearables, DTC fashion, and beauty brands. I'm quite amazed with giving starting and introducing you to the panel. So welcome to this mega podcast, Avinash.
Thank you, Vanchika.
And finally, we have Mr. Mayank Arora. So Mayank is an engineer turned marketer. He started with his degree in computer science engineering, but in his second year itself, he was gravitated towards practicing marketing. He's also a self-taught marketer, started off as a freelancer, and eventually now he's working in the corporate setting. He has also worked in several companies and industries and has great exposure to new technologies. He's also an evangelist in Web3 ecosystem recently and believes in the revolution of this digital space. So welcome, Mayank, and we are very glad to have you here.
Thank you, and hi everybody.
Cool. So, like, before we begin with the questions, I would like to know from every one of you, what is your view on the current digital landscape?
I think to start off with, I think nowadays, as you can see, digital, it has evolved so much. Like everyone, they are like on their mobile phones, smartphones. So whatever they want to search, I mean, whatever they want to get, they will just go to Google. And I think the revolution, like the Web 1.0, Web 2.0, it has changed tremendously. And like, even if you go to the rural areas, people search in their like voice search, they are doing voice search. And I think with this digital, I think in the field of digital marketing as well, there are a lot of opportunities that has crept in. I think if you see, everyone is doing freelancing in digital marketing, and that is the importance of, as you can see the numbers, the stats, like in Facebook worldwide, there are 3 billion users. So this is the impact it's creating, like the digital. I think the world is connected digitally. So wherever you go. So that's my perspective.
And to add to that, I think it's becoming very real time. So it's instantaneously you're fetching things, you're talking to people with the network infrastructure in India improving. People have started graduating from voice to video. So people are doing voice calls. There are live streaming, and even shopping as a medium has evolved to have live commerce. Now you see, with all these large conglomerates now driving live video based shopping where they are connecting with customers. um, Click of a button, I can shop from any store, I can talk to anybody in the any sales associate in any store, and I can purchase things. It's the medium is becoming video, and it's very real time. So it's like in early days we used to go to website and we used to pick up a call, for a phone number from the website and then interact with them. Now it's very real time where you are directly dialing on a video call from the browser or from various apps, video apps that we have. It's becoming easy to connect and exchange notes, ideas, and also for businesses, it's an added advantage. Like Sarang was saying, it's beyond even digital marketing, where you have all these brand advocates who are very much engaged with the shoppers or potential shoppers, and it's becoming a very strong medium. And now that there is a new way. A new transition of web 2 further into web 3. It's a whole new paradigm, and it's a completely new ecosystem and new way to approach how we interact with each other, how we exchange assets between each other. So it's a exciting time to be in.
And also, the basic thing I would like to add, because most of the things you guys already covered, but a basic thing, going from web 2 to web 3 is basically in, if we talk about the commerce part, right? Right now we are into the e-commerce and everything. So according to me, in the web 3, it's going to be d-commerce, that is the decentralized commerce. And there are going to be several use cases that will actually pop up in the market. Some of for one example, it could be for clothing brands. A person could visit the virtual store in the metaverse itself and buy an NFT, and the physical product would also be delivered to the directly to the owner's house. So that could be one of the use cases. And there are several use cases now in the web3. And this is the basically the current digital landscape, that right now everything is going to be connected to the lifelike experiences on the internet. So this is my point. Right.
I think adding to both of you, I think lots of opportunities are creeping in. Like everyone, they can earn money from passive income digitally. So from wherever, with a click of button, so you can do business, you can do network marketing. I think this is a game changer. I think digitally. Earlier, if COVID was like 10 years back, who knows? It would have been a complete layoff, because at that time the internet, the broadband connectivity was not that much compared to now today. So digitally, I think like we are now virtually connected, and I think 10 years back, I think it would have been a dream, like connecting like this.
True.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah.
So, I wanted to know about crypto as a technology. As we all know that it is having a great value and utility. But for a lot of people, they still perceive crypto as non-regulated trading segment. So, what is your opinion on this, and how do we clear this air?
So according to me, right now, if anything new is introduced to the market, or it is basically a human tendency to actually judge new things before even having its mass adoption. So this is the thing, you can take it as for any kind of case right now. And whenever a new thing in the market pops up, and at that time everybody is skeptical for its use cases, regularities, and everything like that. But according to me, like as I have been a crypto trader since 2018, and like people say like it is very volatile, it is very dangerous to invest in it and everything. But I made a handsome amount of money out of it every time, because it is all about your research and how are you understanding the basically about the tokens or the coins utility, and on which blockchain it is based upon, and what is the like pain points that blockchain is actually covering. But it is not true, like it is not like every time you'll make out profits. Like right now, recently we all saw the Terra Luna crash as well, and that actually like wiped out a lot of market value out of the crypto world and everything. So it is like very true that you have to do your research very well, and you have to be updated with time. So this is the thing, like you cannot, this is not a like, how do I say, a sheep walk where where you can follow everybody. And like if I tell you that today to invest in like any coin, I tell you, and I cannot promise you profits. It's upon your research and how do you perceive the knowledge, and like what is your domain and everything like that. That is my.
So adding to Mayank what he said, I think doing research is the first priority. As if you invest on stock as well, so you will do a thorough research, right? You will go to the stock exchanges, you will see the pattern, you will get 1 year of data, you will consult 2 to 3 your friends or colleagues, and then you take a decision. So in the crypto, as you said, yes, it's a non-regulated entity, but the thing is now the things are changing. As you know, the concept of CBDC, like central bank digital currency. So the idea behind this body is that wherever, if there is a country, the central bank will look into these aspects and they will start regulating it, because this is a very good concept, with underlining the blockchain technology and all these things. I think now crypto is booming, but yes, as due to that recent crash, I think the Bitcoin value has gone to $30, $30K, if I'm not wrong. So the best part is like you need to do a thorough research on utility tokens, not buy any meme coins, because there are a lot of private coins circulating in the market. So you have to do the thorough research. You have to like dig in deep, contact with the employees of the token, and like just get the material white papers, and then you can start investing it. Because even I have also buy Dogecoin for I think 1,000 when the price shooted up with one tweet. But when I sold it off, I got just 300 rupees. So we should not believe in the tweets or anything. So you have to do a back end research on that and just invest on what is like what will be the future of the coin. So whether it will be remain stable or. And my humble request to all the investors is that don't buy any meme coins or any like private tokens. So just go for utility tokens.
Yeah, totally agree. So it's one of the riskiest asset, right? So it also depends on how much of exposure you can take as an individual. What's your risk appetite to invest in the crypto space? Certainly, there are people who have made millions, who got 100x returns out of it. Even with the recent Luna crash, there are institutions and hedge funds who have made over 100x returns. So it's about your timing when you want to exit. People who have exited early have made money, and there's also a chance factor with several macro parameters operating. But what is in your control is your understanding of the business fundamentals of any crypto token, and what's the utility, what's the business model of around it. So that's the governing key driver there. So that's basic investment fundamentals, which any investor should always watch out for. Otherwise, it's an exciting space. I'm sure things will go down, things will rise again. So it's part of the game. But certainly, it's the future, because there is so much of interest across. There are so many institutions and funds backing it. It's just a matter of time that regulations will be sorted out, and it becomes a mainstream business as usual.
True.
That's
And
my two cents.
adding to the point, I think the reason why people are very skeptical or the governments are very skeptical because they are thinking that it may go for terror financing because there is no, I mean, that's the main concern of any government. But I think El Salvador has provided us a great example by making Bitcoin as a legal tender. So I think following the footsteps, I think every country should consult the governments over there, how they have articulated the things over there. How does the CBDC work from their end? So I think this is the future. I think if every country implements CBDC through it, and also like you all guys know about the RBI, they are in talks of launching Lakshmi coins, if
Yes.
I'm not wrong.
Yes,
So if
yes,
that
yes.
happens, that will be a good boost for our Indian economy. But yes, it should be regulated because the main concern of South Asian countries is terrorism, and maybe their funds may get diverted to terror financing and that. So I think due to that reason, it should be regulated.
That's true. So, following up the discussion, so there are, I mean, before COVID, I think there was a big belief that crypto is a bubble and it's going to burst, and maybe, it's just a peak that we are seeing in the crypto side. But post COVID, we've seen this transition of belief as well. So the people used to just see crypto as this Bitcoin or some coins which they are trading. So only the trading segment was pretty highlighted, but now people have also come to an understanding that there's a technology which the blockchain is running on, which is very beautiful and which serves a lot of purpose. So I mean, maybe pointing this more towards you, Sarang, what is your take on the side about this technology and how people are perceiving, still a lot of people are still perceiving, let's say, it as something which is only for trading. So how do we clear the air, and how do we make people understand this better? Yeah.
Yeah, because see, this is not a bubble. Crypto is going to stay. That's
Yeah.
for sure. But the thing is, the idea behind the blockchain and that needs to be educated to the people. Lots of, I mean, companies, what they do is they're not focus on the technology backend. So in their websites, in our websites also, like we talk about only the coin and the tokenomics part. What are the pre-mined? So, but what is the technology? What is exactly the blockchain technology? How it will affect the transactions, and how will the KYC process are done? Whether it is stringent or like whether it is easy. So if we or any token contributor, if they educate people on the technology, on the backend technology, how it works, the architecture, and that in simple 1 minute video, like generally
Yeah.
people they don't have patience, like layman, you or me, if they go to company website. So I think with that, I think that will get solved. That is my opinion.
Makes sense. Yeah, yeah. So I think it's more to do with educating people about this
Exactly.
technology and the use of the technology, and
Because
not
if you ask
yeah.
layman regarding what is the difference between Web 2 or Web 3.0, he may not be able to answer. Because Web 3.0 is about the privacy of it runs on a blockchain network, right? So just people
Yeah.
that don't know about Web 3.0, just technical guys like you, if they are in a blockchain world or that. So we need to educate people on that. Like,
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. So speaking of Web 3.0, there are a lot of terms and buzz that are coming in shape. So like which is actually solving a lot of problems also, and there are a lot of use cases that can be solved. So one of them being metaverse. So Mayank, you've been in this space for a long time. So I want to know that as ventures around the globe have already started trying to get the first mover advantage. So what do you think will it truly take to deliver the customer experience and engagement for that?
So okay, a very nice question, first of all. And yeah, I would like to answer it like in this way. It's like, see, like a lot of venture capitalists around the world are actually trying to enter this space and trying to get the first mover advantage, as you mentioned, right? So like for the for delivering the exact customer experience that any metaverse related company or the Web3 related company is expecting, the very first thing is the mass adoption. And as Sarang mentioned before, it's all about educating the people first, and then letting them know the exact use cases. So in terms of if you just talk about the metaverse, in metaverse there could be a lot of different use cases that we can actually introduce. Just like I mentioned before about the d-commerce, the decentralized commerce. Over there, all the companies can actually open their own virtual stores and start trading or selling off their stuff over there. And also there could be one more use case about the the edtech sector. The edtech has been booming in India since a long time now, and a lot of global edtech companies just like Byju's and everything is originated from India actually, right? So these companies can also take the advantage of metaverse and open up institutions or universities or schools or anything in the metaverse itself, and we can provide all the stuff online itself. So there is one more use case coming up in the blockchain as well as the metaverse technology. Everybody has heard about the cryptocurrencies and the NFTs, but there are a few people that know about the SBTs. So SBTs is a soul bound token. So it is kind of an NFT, but an NFT is just a non-fungible token that cannot be replaced, but it can be traded off, right? And but the soul bound token is kind of NFT that cannot be traded. If it is with you, it just belongs to you. It is it belongs to you for a lifetime. So over here, why I mentioned it, it can be used in the case of universities, in the terms of if there is a university in the metaverse itself right now, and it allocates basically it gives you a degree for your study. If it is just an NFT, so it can be you can easily trade it off or sell it off to somebody, but that won't be authentic in the real world as well, because you cannot sell off your degree to somebody else, right? So a soulbound token is basically it actually how do I say, it is or lifelong credentials for some of the specific documents or something. So these kind of technologies are actually booming up right now, so these are the things people actually need to be educated for, and that is how the mass adoption will be. And the other perspective for the metaverse would be the physical things, physical headsets, just like AR, VR, all these kind of technologies. We definitely need the mass adoption right now. If you check out the the phone revolution as well, I don't think 20 or 10 or 15 years ago, most of people did not even have a smartphone, right? So it actually got into the market when everybody got these things for cost efficient price and everything like that. So right now VR headsets, just like the Oculus Quest and these kind of things are actually kind of expensive for some specific markets, but once they are also regulated towards the price, and there is mass adoption, definitely a lot of people would move into the metaverse and have the lifelike experience that every company is expecting. And then the venture capitalists and everybody will get a fruitful exchange of that out of their money and investments.
True,
So
true.
this is my thing.
That's nice.
So,
So Kaushik, you were also involved in technically into building metaverse and bringing that experience out to the customers, right? So what are the brands already doing, or can you suggest the brands should design and implement the customer journey in the metaverse?
Yeah, certainly. See, the brands will go wherever the customer communities are existing, right? So they be it the web 1, web 2.0 in during the social media era. So it's brands went everywhere, every place, wherever they could catch, find their catchment niche segments or target audience. So there is this huge gaming ecosystem that has that has grown like a undercurrent. It's almost like 1/3 of the world is already exposed to gaming now. Now the gaming experience has becoming like a default experience for digital transactions. So that is where we are seeing the gaming interactions, the 3D spatial interactions coming in. So these are immersive interactions, and that's just bringing that is not metaverse, because everybody is grappling with what exactly is the metaverse. It's there's no set definition yet, but just the idea that it's a convergence of multiple technologies. From there's a one trend of being decentralized, and there's the other trend of having digital assets in a decentralized manner, and having ownership of these assets through blockchain, and transacts through these through NFTs and various formats of NFTs. Added to that, you have gaming gamification where you have GameFi coming in. So there is every business is trying to create a microcosm of their own ecosystem. So if I am so take for example a game like say Axie Infinity. They created their own ecosystem. They created assets, and they had their own tokens and economy, right? It's a small microcosm. Now every game, like um, to take an analogy, the web 1 was built with websites. Web 2 was primarily apps, and the utility, the services they could provide through the apps. And web 3 is completely through games. It's complete gamification where you have multiple games all converging or talking to each other, interoperable games, assets being exchanged. So communities, moving from one ecosystem to the other. But each of these ecosystems have their own tokens and tokenomics, utility and governance, and so on. And it's all about community. And here the difference is, even in social media, you had communities and groups and meetups and all that. But here, the communities are part of the whole operation, and they have a say in how you operate, and they can also, it's not just about owning shares in a company like earlier. It's also about owning a piece of operation. So you're part of. If I have a music related metaverse, so then communities can come in and they form a guild or the record labels, pseudo record labels. A bunch of us, like all five of us, can team up. So there's a creator who's launching an album. We form our own decentralized autonomous organization. So it's like a pseudo company. We don't have to incorporate a company, but we are a community. It's a blockchain or a smart contract governed yeah, team of, or a you can say a pseudo company, where we have our mission, and we have our governance structure, treasury management. And this music album, if we can own these assets, and then we can distribute similar to a record label. We can rent it out on streaming platforms. We can earn revenue, and so on. So it's about being part. The community or the fans have an opportunity to run the business, right? So coming back to your question, so are brands looking at it? Yes. So they are still exploring. They're still, everybody is just launching a pilot here and there, but it's not mainstream yet. It'll take some more time for them to bring it mainstream. But yes, so they slowly, brands and companies will start opening up to the fact that it's their IP belongs to their own audience or customers and their fans, the super fans. And these people can drive and co-create along with the brand. It's not about pushing a product and solution to them. It's about co-creating with them, and they own a piece of it. So you collectively own and build something for the betterment of everybody.
True.
Nice. So to follow up on this, um, I mean, a lot of companies are coming out who are bringing the use cases and utilities of this metaverse or this side of things which we've seen. So, I mean, since you are in the investment ecosystem, so is this the right time for people to start investing into companies which are, building upon this future tech, or is it still too early, into, taking a bet on these companies?
See, the people who are not in this, I think they're already late, because
Oh,
there are several crypto funds, gaming funds, and traditional VCs are now starting their own crypto initiatives. So it's already high time, and brands are also jumping in. Various LPs or institutions are backing. Even hedge funds are now totally backing token based investments. So it's not even, it's not a futuristic thing. Investors are already in it, and if you're not here, then you're already late.
I think
makes sense.
adding to Avinash, so I would like to share you. I mean, like I am working for Diamante Blockchain. So we are launching our DIM crypto coin. So right now we are doing this private sale of our token. So we are getting humongous response from, I mean, those who are into FMCG investors also. Like they are also like starting their own crypto funds, hedge funds, and also like if you see, if you Google it, even family offices are like they are interested in investing in crypto. So as you can see, the shift, the momentum has already picked in investors. So there is no doubt that this is the future now. Even the traditional VCs, which they first used to thought ki crypto is a risk or it's unregulated, so still they are believing in this.
Definitely, definitely. 100%.
That's
I also agree with this thing. Yeah.
so from the discussion that we were having, following up to that, so since we spoke about gamification, so I would like to know all of your views when it comes to, so I think there's a new thing which I think started is esports, which is now tournaments are being held for games like PUBG and a lot of other games which a lot of people are engaging in, and they're big, they're like 50 crore tournaments or biggest of the tournaments. So for cricket, like we used to know that Team India would go out, play for a World Cup. Similarly, now there's Team India for PUBG, which is to qualify these rounds and go out and maybe win for the country, something like that. So, what in your opinion is the future of this esports or e-gaming, and what in general is the scope when it comes to this side of domain? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, see, right now, like with the revolution from Web 2 to Web 3, the P2E games are like actually showing up a lot, like the play to earn games basically. So, like as Avinash mentioned before, like about Axie Infinity, there are a lot of games like Titan Arena, there are Pegaxi, and like there are like a million startups like coming up on a daily basis. These are growing like mushrooms these days. Okay, and they are like growing actually everywhere, and a lot of new like P2E games are coming up, and now like move to earn games are also like in the like move to earn applications are also there, just like step in. So over here, like the basic difference is like in like in the traditional games like PUBG, Fortnite, or these games, over there you could like start playing for like mostly for free of cost, and then you can like invest money in buying your skins or buying your clothes or anything for your avatar in the game, right? So over here, like for these games, like over here it is like you before even start to play, you need to like get some assets, like some kinds of assets. Just like for Axie Infinity, you need 3 to 4 assets, and you need to make some investment, and then you can start playing with the game, right? And but the basic thing is like over here you can like start earning from the day one itself if you have the like the like required assets at that time. So this is the thing, and over here like we have like in this thing also we have guild tournaments. So like basically there are gaming guilds that support players like in terms of like giving them assets and like like helping them to like actually start their career into the P2E industry. And there are a lot of guild tournaments also going over, and like yeah, this will also like actually boom up a lot till the level there where like right now PUBG, Fortnite, and these kind of games are. Like Titan Arena is actually like growing on an exponential. It is having an exponential growth right now. If you guys check out about Titan Arena, and like at my like current organization as well, we actually support Titan Arena in our like gaming guild, and we have Axie Infinity and others. But actually, Titan Arena is like one of our star players right now. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so yeah, so I think I totally agree with Mayank. And like I said, it's a growing ecosystem, and esports will transition into a lot of metaverse connected gaming with several guilds coming in and giving assets on rental or licensing basis. So you don't have that entry barrier to come in and play. But the Web2 games were and game studios focus was all about gameplay and the experience. So the fun element of the game itself. So you can never take away that because and there's a lot of backlash by the gamers because bringing in too much of monetization and play to earn mechanisms is kind of killing the whole spirit of the game. So there and many games have also pulled it for there has been been a pushback, and they have gone away from introducing crypto or a token based play to earn. So it's more play and earn that will eventually take shape, because it's the essence of game is all about fun, and the co-creative aspects of DeFi will come in, and then there will always be a segment of players who will be doing it for a living. Like play to earn is mainly for a living, like Axis, scholars from Philippines and Indonesia, Vietnam, some bit in India and Africa. They're all earning a living by just playing the game. So it's play to earn is for that one category. But avid gamers are they don't connect with them. So that's because they are very passionate, and there's this cult following for the fun experience, fun element of the game, right? So there will be a equilibrium balance between the two, because you need scholars, you need a lot of these play to earn communities also to come in, and then you have the free to play community who really love the game experience. So it's you require all these different communities to come together and make the game successful. And then the games are also ever evolving. They're introducing new ways, because traditionally these games, the big games from Web 2, it's very difficult to transition into Web 3 and introduce blockchain based assets, NFTs, and so on. But most of these games are today launching new seasons or new games. These game studios are launching new games which are then play and earn format. So slowly we will see more of these coming in. But yeah, so all these games put together will add value and enrich the whole metaverse experience.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with both Mayank and Avinash. So I am allergic to playing games, but I remember the days where I used to play only one game, which is Road Rash. I think after that I haven't played, and also like EA Sports, the cricket version. So speaking about the gamification, yeah, this is the future. But I think like the more the people will get very obsessive about only playing games and not focusing on other activities. So my just concern is that maybe people may get very lazy, or they will be getting addicted to the games. So it will eventually like with the health issues as well. That is the only concern. Whether playing to one is fine, but the thing is how much you are going to play. Anyways, you have to do other jobs also, right?
Yeah, but I think the slowly the world,
Yeah,
there's a very thin line between virtual and physical. We've
yeah,
already seen it in the digital, Web 2 era as well, right? So we've used apps, booking a Uber or a Ola ride. You're using a Web
yeah.
2 interface, but then you are doing something in the physical world. So it will never be just a virtual experience. There will be a lot of physical activity. For example, we are gamifying certain things, especially for on the sustainability front. We are working with several brands where we are allocating a part of our fund to sponsor a lot of preserve to earn and plan to earn kind of activities in the real world. So what do you do in the game, what do you do in the metaverse, has certain impacts and connotations in the real world, because each time you do an activity in the metaverse, you are actually enabling a plant, a new tree to be planted, right? So it's a or even conservation of corals. So there are certain ocean positive brands we are working with towards conservation of corals, because corals are depleting every and our oceans are running out of these corals, and they are very much important to maintain the oxygen levels at in these oceans. And so it's an opportunity, these metaverse or digital experiences can actually gamify the real world and drive initiatives, because Web3 and metaverse is all about community, and it's all about collective ownership. So here's an opportunity where you can actually make an impact into the real world, because ultimately, we are all communities. We are people. We live in communities, and we share resources. So it's all coming back, though we are going digital. So here's an opportunity where we are actually going to start doing certain activities which will safeguard and preserve and conserve the things that we have, which is our natural resources, because there is only one planet and one Mother Earth, and we all share it. So that's the ultimate metaverse. So these digital gamifications and metaverse experience can actually start making impact, a positive impact in the real world. And also coming to the motion and people getting lazy just playing games, that also may not happen, because there are already, like Mayank mentioned, there's move to earn, and many businesses are already employing, you like Fitbit in the Web2 was using steps. People were using wearables, counting their steps. Likewise, now it's even more pronounced with Web3. So these kind of giving NFTs or tokens to people who are doing certain physical activity, or giving NFTs or assets to people who do certain activities like plant a tree or conserve a coral cluster in real world. They get an NFT asset, right? So all this is in blockchain, and it is very well documented. So it's a good development that's happening, and it is getting us closer to the real world. Though we think we are getting deeper into the virtual world, it is actually eventually making us gel together as a community, across border, across language, religion, culture. If you've seen, Web3 communities are the most open communities, and people are already talking about open metaverse and also, right? So it's an open community for collective progress.
When we are entering to the Web 3.0 and metaverse, so a lot of kids and, let's say, youth are going to join that platform, right? And then there are a lot of chances of cyberbullying. What do you think that government would apply as a fair regulation for the metaverse?
First, metaverse is a very, new concept. I think people, they are slowly like going into the metaverse and they're going to feel for it. First, I think, as I said earlier also, like everyone are not versed with metaverse.
Right.
Yeah, it's a very new concept. Even like if you ask any layman, or like those who are very, very tech savvy, they know what metaverse is, what AI, ML, those kind of technology jargons. Only they will be able to understand it. So I think first, I think we need to like strive for educating people. Like this is metaverse is all about. These are the pros. These are the cons. So once I think people understand about this technology, I think this will be a revolution in the coming years. And also, like once for every tool or anything, there should be a regulatory scrutiny as well.
Yeah, so adding to Sarang's point, yes, it is a friction for many, but like all technologies, like when the social media platforms came, nobody would thought that villages in India or even Africa would be using Facebook and interact, right? So today, it's like they're seamlessly part of the Facebook or Instagram and all these platforms, with absolutely no friction. Even there are they're conversing in Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, and local languages. So the frictions will all go away, because people will figure out a way to use them. And mind you, this is all textual, right? So you need to be educated to type and all those. But coming to a gamified metaverse experience, it's all very visual. So you hardly have anything to type, anything. It's all voice and 3D animations, which everybody can understand. So even kids, see, like most part of the biggest yeah, audience of Roblox are teen, kids of 9 to 12 years old. My daughter introduced me to Roblox, so it's they are in their school, they're like fourth grade kids. They are interacting and they're playing between Zoom calls of their regular classes. They play Roblox. So the younger generation is already into it, and I am building a metaverse. My daughter told me, your metaverse sucks. I play Roblox and there are so many things I do. There's hardly any big feature on your platform, right? So they are telling us, like, and the gamification and the games that I am trying to build, these kids are giving me input. So these are like 9-year 12-year-old kids. So the next generation is smarter, and we need to catch up with them. And it is all visual and experiential, so the barrier will be very limited. Even if it is a farmer or a fisherman, they will understand easily these. It's just about getting immersed in this visual space.
So as we move forward into this, what are the investments that MNCs or also I think SMEs should be making, rather, to make sure that they're keeping the human factor also into consideration, and also investing into right places where a whole hemisphere is kind of taken into consideration, be it the human factor, be it the cyberbullying side of things, or be it investing into something which is more sustainable rather. So what are all of your views rather on where the investment should be made, also in the terms of skill set? So what kind of skills are actually required in today's generation for people to have, so that they're relevant when metaverse or virtual world becomes the thing? So yeah, what are your opinions on
Basically, according to me, like regarding the skill sets, definitely every company needs some blockchain developers, as well as some like great visual designers, 3D designers, as well as all the people who can work towards creating an immersive thing, immersive, basically an environment for their end customers. So this is the thing. And regarding towards the human aspect and the human perspective, metaverse is all about giving the lifelike experience on the internet. So that is basically according to me. And like if we talk about the revolution from web 1, web 2, web 3, it is as we have already discussed in this podcast, but still web 1 was all about connecting people to the how do I say, to the knowledge, or towards the towards the search term and the information, these things, right? And the web 2 was all about connecting people to information and to other people. And the web 3 is going to include both of those, and also including the lifelike experiences. Like we have seen a growth in the in the development of VR headsets, and as well as AR VR technology as a whole. Right now, all engineers all around the world are actually creating the gloves or the VR headsets and something which actually give the human touch whenever you touch something in the metaverse itself. So these kind of things. So definitely companies should definitely focus on increasing their investments, or maybe in the terms of monetary investments, or even the time investments to actually study and to know what kind of things are they going to pursue in the the whole this web3 ecosystem and the web3 revolution basically. And regarding the regarding the regulations, as well as how do I say, filtering out some scams, or the genuine products or the genuine things in the web3, there are actually companies that are working into it. Some of them are coming up as metaverse police, and some of them are coming up as auditors for the whole metaverse and new projects. And they basically actually give out reports according to the to the products and the games, new games coming up, new tokens coming up, new blockchains coming up, to actually educate people and let them know this is a bad thing, this is a good thing, and these kind of things. So yeah, once everybody actually has the mass adoption of this whole new ecosystem, then it can actually be the how do I say it, it can actually transform to the new thing basically. And metaverse is definitely the real life gamification So we are like, everybody is into it, and it is definitely community driven. And as Avinash mentioned before as well. So yeah, definitely like, community is a major part in the like, whole Web3. It is basically the backbone, and community has to be one of the decision makers. Then only your brand can, or the company can actually sustain into this new revolution of the technology. So this is my take on this question.
So yes, I agree with Mayank. So I think yes, people. I mean, any mid-sized company, or if they want to build metaverse, I think they need to invest more on the creative people, like, because there are lots of companies will come up. As you can see, now only there are various crypto tokens, right, in the market. So if you go to each and every site, they have that unique UI and the feel of the websites, and the way they do the digital part of it. So I think the companies, they should more invest on the creative part, because building a metaverse is a very tough job. You need a creative 3D artist, or like creative feel of the people should feel that yes, they are actually going into a store, or like uh, with any one mistake, I think everything, every company will get demoralized into that. So my take is that the talent monetization is very important.
Cool. So I agree with both Sarang and Mayank. And like I said, it's for SMEs especially, there's a huge infrastructure being created. Metaverses, the games are coming in, and there are several tools and blockchain services that are plug and play. So it's pretty easy. It is going to get even easier for any SME business. They just need to focus on their core business as usual. At the same time, few directional changes, like this is an ecosystem that is thriving on community, right? So now for the first time, SMEs should start thinking about what they could do working with the communities, right? So it's about, metaverse is not about an SME coming and creating something of their own, but it's about SMEs coming in and working with their customers or fans and creating something together. And then also looking at their own business and what digital asset they could exchange, create as part of their current offering. Suppose there is a coffee powder, coffee brand, like they just manufacture coffee powder, right? So there could be coffee experiences and NFTs, like even Starbucks has created NFT gamifications around the whole experience of consuming coffee, right? So it's a so every business can get creative in creating certain assets, which could be tokens, which could be in terms of NFTs. These NFTs are digital assets. So what happened is in web 1 or even web 2, it was all about selling things from the physical world to the digital world. In web 2 also, it is services and products which are taking from the physical world, sell it on the digital world. But here is an opportunity for the businesses to create something in the digital world and sell it in the digital world. There is no logistics, nothing. It's just asset that is shifting hands. And each of these assets are so unique, and they switch hands. They have utility. So traditionally, your loyalty points, loyalty tokens and cards that they used in earlier era, today are the tokens and NFTs. And NFTs are the highest form of loyalty programs. So here's the opportunity for them to create utility for the digital assets. Could be, you buy the coffee powder, my coffee powder, and you buy X number of pieces in a year. Then I'm going to give you an NFT where I'm going to give you access to a Starbucks or something like that. Like you give them certain tokens and digital assets, which will give them more access. And it's all, and here in the Web3, in this metaverse ecosystem, your customer is talking, interactively, like more in a immersed manner with a fellow customer. They are more, it's more transparent. So here, in web 2, it was all about just different customers giving opinions and ratings, but here your community gathering will happen in the virtual world, and they're interacting, exchanging notes. So it's getting more co-creative, right? So the customers will be very actively playing a role in your business. So open doors for your customers and build along with them. So that would be a new way of operating, new business models. So the businesses have to be more open, right? It's very close guarded, safeguard IP and so on. Today, even a large brand is opening up IP and saying, asking their fans and customers to come build something for them.
True, true.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
my
think,
yeah.
no, I think, we've covered so many beautiful aspects in this podcast that I think overall view of how the entire landscape is going to evolve and change. And also, so as we come, to the end of this podcast, there's just one last question, which maybe on a personal level, I would like to know from all of you. So, metaverse is huge. There are so many use cases and so many domains, like rather, that we are seeing of metaverse. So what are your personal favorites, and what are the domains that you are keeping a close eye on? So yeah, each one of you, if you can just share what are your personal favorite domains into metaverse, and what is that one segment you're keeping your eye on?
Okay, so I'll start with this thing. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, so metaverse is definitely a very subjective topic right now, and if you ask 10 people what is metaverse for them, four of them might not even know what, if this word even exists, and other six would definitely have different perspectives on, just single word, that is metaverse, right? Everybody would define it to you in a very different manner. So according to me, my personal trends are basically two. The first one is the GameFi thing, and I'm definitely keeping an eye on all the GameFi projects that are actually coming up, and including GameFi, I also mean the move to earn space as well. Like all the things where people interact with the game or with the platform, and they can actually earn out of it. So this is a very much trendy kind of thing, and one of my personal favorites over there. And the second thing would be definitely the decentralized commerce, as I mentioned before as well. I am actually looking into brands who are going into this thing, because this can actually boom a lot, because this has a lot of potential. And so yeah, these both are my personal favorites, and I'm regularly studying and also keeping myself updated regarding the trends, revolving these two things right now. So yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah, either of you can go. Yeah, Avinash.
So like I said, it's all about games, right? So we are very closely working with a lot of game studios and game developers, and also the blockchain developers. Um, but the sectors are like many, could be retail is a very big sector. We are already working with a lot of retail brands. When I say retail, it also includes the brand experiences, and creating fandom experiences for the brands, um, and the retail commerce, which is immersive commerce. That's the whole, the a large chunk. Along with that, we have sports, esports, gaming, and and fashion.
Nice.
Yeah, so as metaverse is very much evolving, so as like Avinash said, I think retail sector will be the first. I think that will be my first agenda to go through, because frankly speaking, I am also doing a deep research on metaverse and how it will implicate. What will be the pros and what will be the cons to start off with. So yeah, retail sector and gamification will be. I mean, uh, those verticals are very much booming right now.
Nice, nice.
Even I think it will create more jobs as well,
True,
metaverse as well.
true.
So because if everyone
Definitely.
shifts to the virtual world, I think there will be a big boom for I mean the designers, the developers. I think it will help in job creations as well. So as and when technology will be evolving, so from Web 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, I think you can see more number of job openings, more number of positions created by SMEs or the large scale enterprises.
So definitely a amazing space to look forward to. And thanks a lot for your time today. We've had amazing topics we've touched upon. I think so many spheres which come with this virtual world, metaverse, blockchain, NFTs, and all these. And so for all the audience, I think who are viewing, you know who to contact. When it comes to joining the company, having skills developed, or working along. Yeah, there are people who currently we have in the panel who would be of great help. So thanks a lot, Sarang, Avinash, Mayank. Thank you so much for joining in today. And yeah, I'm definitely sure this one, as much as I personally enjoyed, and I think I got a lot of insights, a lot of things I personally was not aware of. I mean, I'm going to now research upon. So that's the beauty, I think, of the podcast. And thank you for being a part of this agenda of iTrendGlobal.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you for
Guys,
having us.
thanks
Yeah.
for having us.
Thanks, Vanchika. Thanks, Rishi.
Thanks a lot for staying till the end. I'm pretty sure that you must have gotten great range of insights when it comes to this metaverse, NFT, and digital landscape. The best part is that from this podcast and after doing this recording, I personally felt that I don't think I'm up to date with the pace with which this particular space is growing. And so definitely we have to really keep a close tab as to when and where we have to invest our time and money, and also keep growing our skills when it comes to this rapidly evolving space. Let us know if there's anything that we can help you with when it comes to AR, VR, interactive and immersive experience creation, or even doing marketing for your business. Stay tuned and we'll see you in the next podcast.